Amazon, presentation of redevelopment agreement, presentation of amendment to redevelopment agreement. Hi, Emily.
Emily Givens, Redevelopment Council for the Township. As the mayor mentioned, we're here this evening for a presentation to committee of a proposed amendment to the redevelopment agreement that was entered into between Amazon and the Township. The initial agreement was for the redevelopment of a portion of the former Atlantic City racetrack. The project is still anticipated to be there. And the area that the project needs to encompass has increased. So minor subdivision was done, approved already. Our agreement reflected very specific criteria for the project. And so the amendment is required because the project parameters have changed. And we do have representatives of Amazon here tonight to fully explain to committee and to the public what those changes are. I have provided a brief summary to the committee of the changes so that you can follow along that are reflected in the amendment. But basically it is to describe the project as it is going to be presented through their site plan application to the planning board, defines what the overall project site is now, that area is larger, and gives parameters for the community benefits if there is a substantial development impact from the project itself. And there's a committee that's going to be evaluating that through Mr. Goodman's office. When the project is ready for construction permits, that's when that impact fee will be paid. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Joe Paparo and Danielle Aristi. Correct? Okay.
Thank you very much. Could you go to the first exhibit? There should be two. The Exhibit A, I think there's one. A good evening, Mayor, Township Committee members. Joe Paparo from Porzio, Bromberg, and Newman on behalf of Amazon.com Services, LLC. I have with me Danielle Aristi.
Good evening, Mayor and committee members. Thank you for your time this evening.
And Mayor, committee members, as Ms. Givens stated, we are here for an amendment to the redevelopment agreement, and we wanted to take the opportunity not just to talk about that, but to also give the township a progress update, status update on where the project stands currently. So approximately 1 year ago, as a matter of fact, April 22nd of 2025, the redevelopment agreement with Amazon was executed. Immediately after the execution of that agreement, the Amazon team moved forward diligently with submitting plans for the project to the Hamilton Township Planning Board as well as the county for review of that site plan and subdivision. While those applications were pending, Amazon, it's always innovating, came up with a new and enhanced prototype for this site. That prototype required modifications to the design. So in order to incorporate those design changes and to keep the project moving, the team separated the subdivision from the site plan because the site plan required extensive revisions from an engineering standpoint, allowing us to move forward with the subdivision while those revisions were being made. We did appear before the Planning Board of Hamilton Township in February for the subdivision of the parcel of the Atlantic City Racecourse into the two parcels in question. The subdivision that was approved by the Planning Board provides a larger parcel for the Amazon facility, and that's due to the design change. As you'll hear this evening, the original prototype was a multi-storied distribution and fulfillment center. That prototype was replaced with a more traditional one-story, we'll call it, facility. So instead of going more vertical, it's now lower and it's taking up more land area. So the subdivision needed to be modified, and the lot configurations. Again, that was submitted to the county and to the Township Planning Board for just the subdivision, and that was approved to allow these two parcels to be separated legally. It was approved by both Hamilton Township and the county. After the subdivision, the engineering team, we do have representatives here this evening, moved forward diligently again with the revisions to the site plan materials. Those were resubmitted back to Hamilton Township, and they are currently under review by the Township's consultants, engineers, and planners. And we expect to hear shortly as to whether or not the application, the revised application, is now complete and can be scheduled for site plan review by the planning board. So that's just a quick progress and status update as to where the project sits. And as Ms. Gibbons stated, because the configuration and the layout changed, the redevelopment agreement that we entered into with the township back almost a year ago needs to be updated and brought current so that it aligns with this new design. The changes primarily in the redevelopment agreement amendment that you have before you are just that, to refine the project description, to reflect the new footprint, to reflect the fact that it's no longer a multi-story building, it's down to a more traditional one-story building. And also to change some other terms of the redevelopment agreement, primarily the project schedule. In light of this pivot that Amazon needed to incorporate into this project, the project schedule had to be adjusted accordingly. The good news is that we did make progress with your planning board on the subdivision while these details were being revised. The Pinelands Commission also has seen the revised concept, and they have made a determination that the changes are not significant enough to require a new certificate of filing. So the Pinelands Commission is allowing us to proceed under the original certificate of filing because, again, although in Amazon's world this is a significant change, to the rest of us it's not as significant when it comes to a site plan review position on what's needed to be done to advance the project. What you have on the screen before you is the approved subdivision plan from the planning board. And you'll note in the upper portion of the screen that larger parcel is the proposed Amazon parcel. The remainder is shown at the bottom of your screen. And so again, this reconfiguration of the parcels was done again to accommodate the changes in the facilities layout on the site. So in addition to the subdivision, if you wanted to go to the next, here he comes. We're going to go to the next exhibit, which is, both of these exhibits are attached to your RDA amendment. The next exhibit, this is the new conceptual site plan. Again, it shows the one-story facility with the associated parking and trailer parking on the larger parcel that was created by the subdivision. The good news is that there are no new deviations or variances or anything that would distinguish this project from the redevelopment plan that was put in place. This project will comply with the redevelopment plan goals and objectives and the zoning guidelines of the Township of Hamilton for this site. There were some sign variances, or I'll call them deviations, that were originally requested as part of the first application. For some of the directional signs that weren't contemplated when the redevelopment plan was put together. Those directional signs most likely will still be part of this proposal. But again, no deviations from any of the zoning requirements of your redevelopment plan, setbacks, height, all of those things, parking requirements, everything's still being met. Again, this is really being done to accommodate the new configuration. I mentioned that the Pinelands has already weighed in on this and feels like these changes are not significant enough to warrant a new certificate of filing. And all of the other components of the redevelopment plan, such as sound attenuation and screening and landscaping, are all still being incorporated in this proposal. I'd like to just have Danielle Aristi come forward again, just briefly to talk about Amazon's pivot to this latest and greatest prototype, and to just again confirm that nothing from an operational standpoint is really changing from what we presented to you almost a year ago. Danielle?
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, so while we're considering, we call it a change, the way that these buildings work in all of our program and all of our networks, this is a first mile site. It is the journey of the package. That's where it begins in our first mile site. So this will be what we call an ARS, an Amazon Robotics Sortation Fulfillment Center. That's the same facility that was proposed originally when we were here roughly a year ago. But however, we have rolled out a complete new design template. So because of where we were in the project, we got caught up in it, and we had to pivot to that. The good news about it is the operation that's occurring in this building, while Joe said the prior version was more vertical, and this is more horizontal, it's still the same activities. It's product coming in typically on pallets that'll be broken down, put onto totes, moved through material handling equipment, and then stored on racking that gets moved around by robotics, or robots, that's what we call them, an ARS facility. And then when a customer hits purchase on the website or on the app, that will trigger for that item to be moved again by a robot over to a working station where that is picked, and the customer order is fulfilled, put into a box or a package, labeled, and sent outbound. So it's really the same activity occurring. It's the same exact type of facility that was previously contemplated. Although we are reducing the square footage for this operation, we are still going to be creating roughly 750 full-time jobs for this facility, which was the same under the prior application. So I'm happy to report that that's not changing. And I think, Joe covered the more technical aspects, but it's same thing, just our latest and greatest design.
Mayor, one thing I neglected when I was going over the components of this project that are the same and some of the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan, there is an encouragement in the redevelopment plan, as everyone's aware, to have Leipzig Avenue, once it's improved to accommodate this facility, dedicated to Atlantic County. That's also included in this proposal, and that's currently under review by the Township's consultants. So that also is another component that's been just carried forward. There is no change. Access to the facility, all four entrances on Leipzig will remain. Those are the same. Those roadway improvements that'll be constructed as part of this redevelopment, once they are constructed and inspected by the county to their satisfaction, that roadway will be dedicated to Atlantic County. None of those components of the project have changed. We're happy to answer any questions. Again, we do have representatives of Kimley Horn. Again, this is not a planning board meeting, but we wanted to have them here in case there's any technical comments. But we can represent, and I'm sure your professionals can weigh in on it, that this proposal, in our opinion, is consistent with the goals and objectives of the redevelopment plan. Thank you.
So this might be just an overlook, but on your plans here,
Yes.
it's saying proposed 2-story warehouse.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's a great point. It's not
It's changing to a 1-story level.
No, and I think the reference is inside this building, and Danielle can speak a little bit more in detail operationally. There's actually a mezzanine level. There's a raised platform inside this 1-story building where the robotic equipment and other technologies are held and housed. That helps the package, product process. But Danielle, did you want to weigh in briefly on the mezzanine? But that's the reason why, from an engineering standpoint, from a building code standpoint, they're calling it 2 stories because there's a mezzanine level inside.
Thank you. I'm good.
Any other questions, comments?
No, just one it's a very well put together presentation, and I just see that in 36 months it should be complete with construction. So what is the date? Proposed date?
So we don't have an exact date yet because we still have to go through the planning board and get that approval, and they get the final Pinelands Commission approval that would allow the township to issue the permits. But yeah, the redevelopment agreement allows for 36 months from that point to construct. Thank you.
The good news is that, again, we're a bit ahead of schedule because of the fact that we did separate out the subdivision from the site plan. We're able to at least check that box while the site plan technical engineering was being revised. So we should be, again, moving forward as quickly as possible.
Any other questions, comments?
I'm happy to hear that you still were able to keep about 750 employees, so that was very good. I'm excited to hear about that.
Thank you.
Bless you.
We're happy to keep that consistent.
Yes, thank you.
Else? Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Mayor and Committee, you do have a resolution
Mhm.
before you to approve this amendment. And you are also making a determination through this resolution that the proposal that you saw this evening is consistent with the redevelopment plan and the amended redevelopment agreement.
That being said,
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Mr. Cheek?
Just one item.
Yes.
Ms. Thompson?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Patel?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Very good.